very much for joining the Young Yoruba for Freedom. And thanks so much for joining me as well. We're starting a new campaign. And essentially, we're going to be interpreting the Constitution of Western Nigeria. I just want to confirm if people can see us from YouTube. I get confirmation that people can see us from Facebook. I want to be sure if you can see us from YouTube. Sorry, I just need confirmation before we go ahead. If you guys can see us from YouTube. Yeah, I've been told that you can see us. You can see us from YouTube. You should be able to see us now. Sorry guys, I know some of you can see us. Okay. You can see us right now. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to bring in a guest to start this campaign. And then the guest, she's a mother. She's got a lot of grandchildren. And this person, when I was 15 years old or thereabout, but I'm very sure that I was still in secondary school, I overheard her with my uncle having a conversation about politics. I haven't spoken to my uncle since I left Yoruba land many years ago. But today, I had confirmation that he's still very much alive. My uncle and this person that I'm going to be bringing as a guest, they are very fortunate to be alive today. Their generation brought the responsibility upon our own generation today. They are very lucky in the sense that only 4% of the current total population of Yoruba people witnessed slavery and colonialism. 96% of the current population of Yoruba people in Western Nigeria were never born during slavery and colonialism. So we cannot claim that because of slavery and colonialism, we cannot develop our space better than England, better than Japan, better than China, or even at par with the United States. We were never enslaved. We were never colonized. So I will bring in this person. Her name is Betty Abike. And then she was going to confirm something to you guys. Because that conversation, that singular conversation of a 15-year-old boy brought about the campaign that we are having today. That singular conversation today brought about this. This is the front copy of the Constitution of Western Nigeria. This is a constitution that 96% of the population of the Yoruba nation have no clue about. This is a constitution that people condemn us when we first raised this issue last year. So folks, I'm going to bring my mother on board. And I know you are going to be surprised. I want you to listen to her opinion in respect of this. It is because of her conversation and that of my uncle over 25 years ago that we are having this campaign. And also a generation and that of my uncle actually brought us into degradation because that generation refused to confront the Igbo and the Fulani who suspended the regional system of government. I'm just going to ask a couple of questions, and then to be fair to people who are watching us at home, I just spoken to her today that I'm going to bring her live. Hello, ma. Okay, ma. It's our live. Yeah. Ben, ma, it's our live. No, because I'm talking me. Eh? One more voice in me. One more voice in me.
It's okay.
So one more voice in me. So I'm not bringing you physically. Now, you know, I just call you this afternoon, right?
Yes.
That I'm going to bring you live.
Yes.
Okay.
That's okay.
Now, you might recollect this, Mom. There was a time you took us to Uncle Michael Omoleye's house.
Yes, please.
You know, he's a publisher.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think a private secretary to Awolowo.
Yes.
He also gave us a lot of books on Awolowo.
Yes, very highly responsible man.
Now, you and Uncle Michael Omoleye, you were discussing politics sometimes ago when you took us to his house.
Yes.
And you made mention of the Constitution of Western Nigeria. I just here drop into that conversation. The conversation took place when I was in secondary school. I am today a father. That is a long time ago. Now,
yes.
What do you want to tell us about the Constitution of the Western region?
Can you enlighten me more? What exactly do you want me to?
Okay, this is what I want you to. Many of us, our generation, have no clue about this Constitution. We have never been exposed to this in our school. We just believe that the existence of Nigeria started as recently as 1999. We have no clue at all. Tell us what you think about regional government. Which?
Oh, it was very, very sweet. Regional government, you get lots of things. Lots of things. Regional government, that's what Awolowo made. To build cocoa house and so many beautiful, beautiful things for our education, free education from primary to all levels. And medical care, that's all we want. That's what we'll be fighting for.
Yeah.
But nobody even take to that. If we're in regional government, we control what we have.
Yeah. That is exactly.
We control.
Yeah.
It will pay us better.
It will pay us better.
Like now, I would not even looking for anywhere to. But we used what we want and it was successful. Hello?
Yeah. Hello, I can hear you, Mom. Everybody can hear you. Now.
Yes, regional government is super.
Yeah.
That whatever we get from our region, we take control of it.
Exactly.
And it works well. You know, the old Western region, the Delta states, Edo and all others.
Yeah.
Kwara and all others were there, and it was successful. Yeah. We were eating well. Medical, everything was okay.
Yeah.
So we are praying for us to go back to that.
Okay, Mommy, that's what you call me. You are praying, and I don't want to argue with you on that.
Okay, what I'm saying, everybody,
No, I do know. It's this. I don't want to. I don't want to antagonize your generation. You know, I'm always attacking your generation that you haven't done so well to bring about a return to regional government. Now, there's something you always say to me, which I have disclosed to the general public many times. You don't want me to fight for the interests of Yoruba nation because of how Yoruba treated Awolowo and Abiola, and you are so upset with the way they are treating Tinubu. What do you want to say to that?
What I want to say is, now they've turned everything upside down.
Okay.
You can't trust even your fellow Yorubas.
Okay.
That's what exactly that is good. And I think, I don't know what's happened, and I think we let me include myself too. We ace ourselves.
Okay. You mean Yoruba?
Yes.
Yoruba, yes.
I mean Yoruba.
Yeah.
If not, Yoruba have done this. You think that maybe your parents, we don't do well, we did well. But there are a lot of things that have went wrong that we must go back to that regional government to let everything be okay. Why should anytime they mention Yoruba, why must we hate ourselves? I recollect those days. Any party you are, nobody will even do anything. Everybody will join. And things were going on very well. So that's the best thing. Now I've had this we say Tinubu, that we say Tinubu, and I saw that man as a very, very, very strong man, and he really is fighting. Oh, God will be with him.
Yeah. You've said something that I would like you to elaborate more on this. I want you to tell the public. Initially, when I started this thing, you were not in support of it because you were concerned about the attitude, ma?
Yeah, I said yes.
Okay, you were concerned about the attitude of the Yoruba people, particularly what they did to Awolowo, how they allowed MKO Abiola, including the wife, to be assassinated. Now, look at exact thing that they are doing to Tinubu, attacking this man every now and then. You will recollect more that he remains the only man who won his re-election in 2003. You know?
Yes.
And then this Obasanjo refused to give him the allocation for almost 3 years plus. So I want you to tell the younger generation that are watching us what the Yoruba of the past did to Awolowo and Abiola and encourage them not to allow that to be perpetrated on Tinubu.
Let me comment on that.
Okay.
I don't know the word I should use.
Okay.
Because, it was so painful. Very, very painful. I think I was going out with my sister.
Okay.
When we heard about the death of
Kudirat.
MKO.
Oh, MKO.
I said, I can't believe this. MKO. I can't. And it was a reality. Nothing. I was not so small during the time of Awolowo. Awolowo was very strong and he's helping everybody. So that of Kudirat, in fact, is genius somebody to me. So when we were going, nobody believed that, but it happens. Then what can we do?
No.
Can we continue to be like that? It's not like that anyway. I don't know. We must change to get our rights.
No, Mom, you know something that your generation did very badly, very wrongly. You just believe that we have to pray over everything. You were unwilling to fight. That is the mistake of your generation. Okay, you come in.
Okay, let me come in. Don't say that too.
Okay.
Yoruba is a great warrior.
Okay.
Let me be frank to you.
Okay.
We may be, we may have feelings, but we're not that stupid.
Okay.
Whoever wants to think that Yoruba is not stupid. And we realize something, we are not stupid anyway. I normally correct you. I'm just telling you that please gently. Because now what they told Yoruba to be, and we were not like that before. Anywhere we stay from. But now they divided everything into groups. That is not okay. It's not favorable at all.
Okay, that's what, mommy. That's what I.
That we are looking.
Okay.
What do you say?
What you've mentioned is what I will be discussing later today with many millions of people who are going to be watching us and those who are at home following us. So I'm very grateful for coming on board to speak. Thank you very much, ma. She might be struggling. Hello, ma. Oh, you're still there. Now, look, I want to ask you this question. From your... hello? Hello? Hello, ma. Can you hear me? Hello, ma. Okay. Hello? Can you? Yeah, Chengbo, ma. Chengbo. Yeah. I want to ask you these questions. Maybe it's going to be the final question from you so that I can concentrate on what we have got to do. From your father's generation to your generation and to my generation, we have always voted for a party that is today APC. Is that right?
Yes.
Because
it's right. It's correct. I was telling you that my father was being paid 1 kobo per year.
Yeah, by the English. Yeah, by the English. By the English.
Well, I can say by the English, but that time,
yes,
it was Northern versus Yoruba something.
Okay. How much was it?
He didn't care because he's so honest man. He's very honest.
How much was your...
Battalion is having 1 kobo per year.
Per year. You told me that, I remember. Yeah. Simply because he supported Awolowo.
Yes.
Yeah. Now you see the same thing.
And as God, we just have it.
Okay.
The very day that they said, we are going to prison the Yoruba. Then the army took over. That because of, he's a very honest.
This is a new one. You haven't ever told me that they were about to imprison my grandfather because he stood with Awolowo. Now I ask you this question, Mom, and we can easily go. I know a lot of people are enjoying it. Okay. What do you think about my incessant arrest in England? I've been arrested several times.
Are you talking about that? It was an embarrassment, even as a mother, because I know you very well. Some will be thinking that you it's so terrible.
Yes.
I'm
telling you.
It's so terrible.
Yeah.
You are very strong and I trust you and I know what you can do. You cannot take 1 kobo from anybody for anything. But they will be thinking you get money for it yourself. As a mother, how do I feel? Without even doing anything, just...
It's terrible,
arrested. And the worst thing was the one in August last year. Was it August?
For terrorism, Scotland Yard.
For terrorism, can you imagine that?
It's unbelievable.
Can you imagine that?
You remember the first time in 2015 when they arrested me and locked me up. You had high blood pressure, you had hypertension. They wouldn't even allow me to speak to you. You see, Mom, this is some of the things that this is.
You have anything that is more than hypertension. I know God is with you.
Mom, this is some of the things that I am upset with your generation with. If your generation had... Wait, hold on, Mom, hold on. If your generation had confronted the Igbo and the Fulani who suspended regional government, my generation will not be here in England wasting away, facing all manners of horrible living experiences. It is bad. And then if we don't do anything, look at you now, you cannot even speak to your grandchildren.
What an embarrassment.
A big embarrassment. Would that have happened to you if we...
Even in London, they appreciate grandmothers very well.
Yes.
So they are not even doing badly about that.
Imagine they just come.
They really appreciate. Anybody that is grandma, they appreciate. Worldwide.
It's horrible.
Somebody disturbed me from seeing my grandchildren. What an embarrassment!
It is a big embarrassment. And then, Mom, you know, I've been saying something. I tell you, I've been saying something, and I want you to collaborate with me on that. You know, I've never wanted to live in England. Is that true?
Don't you know what you did? Don't you know how I fought you? You said you are just going there for your PhD and you will come back immediately. You said it.
Yeah. But Mom, things have happened. Things have moved on. Our life has been miserable because of the suspension of regional government. So I will be interpreting the constitution of Western Nigeria to young Yoruba all across the world. And we want to appreciate you for what you've done. And let me just quickly say this live so that I didn't tell you this. Somebody contacted me a few days ago after watching my video, appreciating what I've been doing. And this person said to me that, please, I don't know you, but I would like to give your mother something. And I was taken aback initially. I was surprised. She said she just wants to bless the womb that gave back to me because of what I do for the Yoruba nation. So the money that I sent you, that you got today, was actually not from me. It was from a member of the public, just to show appreciation that you brought forth a child who could stood and fight and still fighting for the interests of the Yoruba nation. So a number of people are saying thank you to you, Mom. So I will have to let you go. You want to say something?
God will bless them. God will bless them.
Okay.
And thank the one that sent the money. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
I know what you face. If you are not great, if you are not honest, something bad should have happened, because it's not an easy thing.
It is not an easy thing anymore.
Do you know the meaning of that?
Yeah, I know the meaning of terrorism is a shock. It's still very shock. But Mom,
it's a very rude shock.
and it goes on forever. Like
I was so worried.
8 times. You know, if you've counted it, 8 consecutive arrests. 8 times. It's ridiculous. And the police in England, they prided themselves as better than most of the police in Africa. They are horrible. They're corrupt. How can you be arresting somebody continuously 8 times if they are reasonable? That's why I've been saying to you from the very first day, I don't want to live in this country. I don't like it. A place you cannot attain your full human potential. When I complained about this to you when I was way young, you don't see it because you don't live abroad. Many of us that are living abroad are suffering. We have better stake in our homeland. So, Mom, I thank you very much, and the people thank you very much. So let me continue with what we have to do today, and then I'll speak to you afterwards.
You are blessed. So.
Thank you very much. Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, hey, hold on, Mom. Hold on. Are you there?
Okay.
Now, do you want to tell people who are watching us? You know, you call me a Putieri, and because you went to some pastor, you know I'm not a Christian. You are a Christian. I know you argue with me over that. You said you went to you went to about 6 different pastors, and they said to you that I'm a Putieri. Do you want to tell the people who are listening to you how you came about that? I know you were worried about what I was doing.
Well, thank God, and thank you, my son. Yeah. You know what happens? You can imagine, I love children. You can imagine, even with my age and what I've seen, for somebody to just be, how can the police will come, this will come, and the worst is, what do you call the last one?
Terrorism.
Now, it's terrorism. So everybody that was, if somebody saw me, said, don't worry yourself about this young man. Àpótí ẹ̀rí ni, kò sí ẹni tó lè ṣe léṣe lágbára Ọlọ́run, kò dẹ̀ sí.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So àpótí ẹ̀rí yẹn kò síbi anywhere tí wọ́n bá ti rí mi, ìyà yẹn pọ̀.
Yeah.
I was not, how do I feel? All the women, I didn't know what you did. You know, when they locked you up for 5 months, the course that nobody passed, you did a course there, inside that place, and you came back.
Yeah, that's the truth. I did.
A lot of things have happened, and immediately they saw you. They buried you. I was, I would be worried. they query you that you started again. They give you this admission for your PhD, and you refuse.
Yeah.
How was your feeling there? You got your admission. Somebody who is very, you call him we don't know what happens to that, but I know.
No, we know what, mommy. We know what happened. That he took that admission. He took that visa. He didn't show me. He's a very horrible man. I think I made a terrible mistake. I made a choice of a wife.
I can't. It was so terrible.
Yeah, it's a terrible.
It was so terrible. I'm a mother.
Yeah.
I'm a mother. So anybody that sees me, say, don't kill yourself. You know that time. I will not be able to sleep again. Then I will just say, God, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mom. Let me now continue with this one. Hey, guys, that's my mother. She's been very supportive, but she's been very concerned about what we do. And aside her, I want to thank member of YYF for this wonderful job of producing the copy of the Constitution of Western Nigeria. Guys, you know that this started from our last campaign in which I stated that the Igbo under regional government cannot vote and be voted for in Yoruba land. People said that no, there was nothing like the Constitution of Western Nigeria because a lot of us, about 96% of us, were actually born after 1960. And if we were to quantify the number of us, many of us did not witness any system called regional government. But we said that, and we produced that constitution for you, which many of you have read, but I doubt if the Yoruba liberals have a clue about it still. But it was a shocking thing, folks. After the conversation with my mom and my uncle went on for many, many years, I've completely forgotten about that. We came about this constitution and we were looking for copies when we were challenged by the Yoruba liberals. The Yoruba liberals challenged us saying that there is nothing like the Constitution of Western Nigeria. We said there is. So the first place we went to was the University of Ibadan. Then we went to the University of Ife and ended up going to Unilag, University of Lagos. None of these flagship university in Yoruba land has a copy of the Constitution of Western Nigeria. What does that tell us? It shows the level of our degradation as a nation. Yoruba nation is the only nation on this planet that has been colonized twice. First by the English, and since the suspension of regional government, Igbo and Fulani have been colonizing us. Our own constitution, you cannot get a copy in any of our flagship university, in any university at all. So I sent people in America to go to Harvard. We saw a copy, but they would not give us a printed copy. They wanted us to come and read this there. So we sent another delegate to Los Angeles Library in California in the United States. That is the only place where we get a copy of the Constitution that you all now have now. And on behalf of the young Yoruba for freedom, we want to say a big thank you to the Los Angeles Law Library in the United States of America. The Yoruba people have always loved the good people of the United States of America. We're very appreciative of what you've done. So the copy of the Constitution you have now, we obtain it from America. A big shame on the educational system of the Yoruba nation. Folks, during negotiation for independence between 1957 and 1959, the Yoruba, we represented Yoruba people, we represented Edo people, we represented Urobo people, we represented Ijaw people. They called them Western Ijaw. Ijaw were divided into two, partly eastern region, partly western region. Those who were in the western region are half of Bayesa's today. So we represented them at the negotiation for the Constitution of Nigeria. The Igbo people represented the Eastern Ijaw, they represented Efik Ibibio, and they represented themselves. The Hausa Fulani represented themselves, they represented Kanuri people, Nupe people, Birom people, Junkum people, Bagi people, and the rest of them in the northern part of Nigeria. Two of these three representations, the Yoruba and the Igbo, and the Hausa Fulani rather, agreed to parliamentary system. Only the Igbo people wanted unitary system, which is based on presidential system. We eventually agreed to the regional government because the Yoruba said, no, we're going to opt out. We cannot practice presidential unitary system in a multicultural society like Nigeria. The Hausa Fulani also agreed to that then. Since then, the Igbo nation has been looking for a way to destroy Nigeria and bring in unitary system. They were the only people out of the three major ethnic nations in Nigeria that rejected regional government from day one when the Constitutional Conference was going on. They wanted the presidential system so badly because of two things which they lack: crude oil and access to sea. As of that time, the Hausa Fulani also lack crude oil and access to sea, but they believe in their agriculture. But the Igbo sharpened their insight into Hausa Fulani in later life, rejecting the regional system of government. What was the reason why the Igbo, represented by Azikiwe, wanted unitary presidential system? I've said to you, because 70% of the crude oil production in Nigeria was going on in Yoruba land when the negotiation for the constitution was going on. Also, 90% of Nigeria waterways belong to the Yoruba people. This is what the Igbo lacked, and they were looking for a way to capture these two. Prior to that negotiation, in 1957, 1959, there was something happened in 1953. And I'm going to call on YF member to help to share. If it is possible, you can share it on via YouTube. It will be very good. If not, you share it through Facebook, and you can share it through both of these two platforms. You can share it. In 1953, the Hausa Fulanis said they don't want to be part of Nigeria. On May 12, 1953, Zik, who represented the Igbo, gave a speech before his party, the NCNC. The speech was given in Yaba, Lagos. Zik threatened the Hausa Fulani in that speech, 1953. He stated to Hausa Fulani that if you break out of Nigeria, you will not have access to the sea. You will pay fee to use the sea. And your agricultural produce, you will not be able to sell it to other part of Nigeria. Zik wasn't impressed with Hausa Fulani. He wasn't trying to help them. Zik knew two things the Igbo nation lacked: access to sea and crude oil. As of 1953, the Eastern Ijaw and Efik Ibibio, who were part of the Eastern region with the Igbo, have already sent delegates to the Queen, asking the Queen to give them their region because the Igbo are too greedy. The records are there. Don't forget that today's Southern Cameroon was part of Igbo Eastern region. Southern Cameroon left because of the greediness of the Igbo. Also, the Ijaw nation, Efik Ibibio nation, were saying to the queen that they don't want to be part of Eastern region. So Zik was conscious of these two things which the Igbo nation lacks: access to the sea and crude oil. So in 1953, he threatened Hausa Fulani that if they opt out of Nigeria, they will have to pay fee to use the waterway in Yoruba land, and their agricultural produce, Yoruba will not buy it. So invariably, Zik was trying to negotiate with Hausa Fulani to remain in Nigeria so that Igbo too will remain in Nigeria so that they can have access to the sea and the crude oil. Because if the Hausa Fulani had opted out of Nigeria in 1953 as they desire, Nigeria would never have been a country today. Automatically, the Yoruba will opt out. Automatically, the Ijaw, Efik Ibibio will opt out. Everybody will opt out, and Igbo will be a landlocked. Zik thought about this, and he was shaking. So he gave a speech threatening Hausa Fulani, but he was actually sending signal to Hausa Fulani that if you leave, our life is fucked. The Igbo life is fucked. That was what Zik was saying. So folks, you will see, if you guys, YF member, if you can help to send a copy of this Zik speech of 1953. It's a screenshot of Azikwe's statement of 1953 threatening the North with an economic blockade if they succeed from Nigeria. This is what Zik said. In 1953, when northern Nigeria were beginning to consider secession from the Nigerian colony that would soon be a nation, Nnamdi Azikiwe gave a speech before the caucus of his political party, the National Council of Nigeria and Cameroons, NCNC, in Yaba, Lagos, on May 12, 1953. That speech, while not disallowing secession, suggested that there will be grave consequences if the northern region become an independent nation. Ironically, 14 years later, Azikiwe led his eastern region out of Nigeria and created Biafra, a move that prompted a bloody 3-year civil war. Azikiwe's speech in 1953 appears below. There's something that is important in shade. He said, "In shade of political opinion, the right to determine its policy, I am obliged to issue a solemn warning to those who are guiding the North towards secession. If you agree with my view, then I hope that in course of our deliberation tonight, you will endorse them to enable me to publicize them in the press." In my opinion, in that speech, he goes on, saying in that speech that if the Hausa Fulani leaves, they will not use the waterways and nobody will buy the agricultural produce. But in the second part of the speech, folks, I know you have it, you can give it to people. In the second part of the speech given by Nnamdi Azikiwe in 1953, his secret was exposed. He said, secession may lead to economic nationalism in the eastern region. That if the Hausa Fulani should opt out of Nigeria, this will lead to economic nationalism in eastern region. What was he saying? That the Ijaw and Efik Ibibio, who actually have crude oil and access to the sea, will opt out of the eastern region if the Hausa Fulani should break out of Nigeria. As of that time, 1963, there was literally no Nigeria. The three regions were run separately. We were trying to formulate and fashion out a constitution that will make us to live together as one country. We were writing constitution. So Zik realized and he said, if Hausa Fulani are allowed to get out of Nigeria, it may lead to economic nationalism in eastern region. That means the Ijaw and Efik Ibibio will say they are going. They have already sent a delegate to the Queen saying they are going. So Zik, while he was threatening Hausa Fulani, if they leave, they will not have access to the waterway and nobody will buy the agricultural produce. He was actually protecting the interests of the Igbo. He knew then that if Hausa Fulani should break away from Nigeria, Ijaw and Efik Ibibio will go. That is the reason because of crude oil and access to the sea is the reason Ojukwu declared Biafra. It is the reason Nnamdi Kanu created IPOB, so that to take what does not belong to them, access to the sea and crude oil of the Ijaw people and Efikibibio people. Let's go on. He said, which can pursue a policy of blockade of the north by refusing it access to the sea over and under the river Niger. He's saying that if Hausa Fulani should break away out of Nigeria, that was 1953, they will not use the waterways. And then went on and said, except upon payment of tolls. This may lead to economic warfare between the north on one hand and the eastern or western region on the other hand, should they decide to fix protective tariffs which will make the use of the port of the last and west uneconomic for the north. What Zeke was saying, that if the Hausa Fulani were not allowed to use the sea, the Hausa Fulani will have to pay a toll to use the sea, which of course that is what was part of regional government. Then Hausa Fulani too will put tariff on their agricultural produce. And Zeke said that this might lead to war. It's not going to lead to any war. He was just threatening Hausa Fulani, saying to them that if you break away, the Yoruba will not allow you to use the sea. It's all bullshit. Because from day one, the Igbo wanted to appropriate other people's land because of two things which they lack. Lesotho don't have access to sea. They don't have crude oil. Yet they are inside South Africa and they are proud people to be called a nation. It is the right of Hausa Fulani to put tariff on their agricultural produce because that is their mainstay. The people of Israel are farming, even though it's a desert. People are buying agricultural produce from them and paying for it. So why should Hausa Fulani put tariff on the agricultural produce and this will lead to war? This was what Zeke was saying, but these are bullshit. But the generation before us then couldn't see this as complete nonsense from the Igbo. The Igbo were just fighting to keep one Nigeria because they don't have access to sea and they don't have crude oil. If they are reasonable people, the greatest resources God Almighty has given to every nation is human capital. They will have grown their own human capital and be able to use their intellect to develop their space. Because of water and crude oil, they destroy Nigeria. You will see how they destroy Nigeria. That was what he said. He went on, which I don't want to bore you. He said the north may be rich in mineral resources and certain cash crops, but that is no guarantee that it will be capable of growing sufficient food crops to enable it to feed its teeming millions population. Unlike the east and the west, Zeke is saying that Hausa Fulani will not be able to grow enough food for their people. Why are you so passionate about these people who are different from you, who are human beings on their own? Why are you showing so much love for them? It is because you don't want Igbo to be alone. It is not that you love Hausa Fulani. He's saying to Hausa Fulani, if they break away, they will not have access to the sea. They will not even use River Niger. Those of you who are home, if you are reading this, he made mention actually of River Niger. That if they break away, they won't use River Niger. If they break away, the agricultural produce, nobody will buy it in the west, nobody will buy it in the east. And he said if they break away, they cannot grow enough food to feed their people. Why are you so concerned about these people? It is for your own benefit because you want to control everybody in Nigeria. That is the evil. It is not the amalgamation of 1914 that actually destroyed Nigeria. It is the greediness of the Igbo people that destroyed Nigeria via the suspension of the regional government, which you're going to see. So this is what he was saying. He went on and said this, which I'm going to just quickly read through so that we don't waste our time. He says something that is very unique. He said military forces and installations are fairly distributed in all the three regions. This is a stupid human being. You will know the same greediness that Zeke exhibited here is what you see in Ojukwu, is what you see in Nnamdi Kanu. They are propagandists and criminally minded people. You know, Zeke committed fraud when he was the premier of Eastern region. He is the only premier that ever committed fraud. The greediness is in them. But he said something here. He said, if the North should break away, he said they won't use the waterways, they won't grow enough food for their people, and the people in the East and the people in the West will not buy the agricultural produce. And if they put tariffs on the agricultural produce, that will lead to war. Crazy. If I produce rice, I sell it for any amount of money that I sell. If the Yoruba want to buy, let them buy. If the Igbo want to buy, let them buy. If they don't want, fuck off. Why would that lead to war? This guy is greedy. And he says something which I want to point your attention. He said, military forces and installation are fairly distributed in all the 3 regions. When we practice regional government, Yoruba have their own military installations. Hausa Fulani have their own military installations. Igbo have their own military installations. It is not what you have now that Hausa Fulani control all the military installations. It was Igbo who made it so. So that was what Zeke said, that if war break out, we all have our military installations. We will all defend our respective regions. And he went on, he said, if that is not the case, any of the regions can obtain military aid from certain interested power. He said in his statement that military installations are equally distributed across the region. So we have the same military might, the same guns, the same tanks, the same bomb we all have across the 3 regions. And he said, if some of these regions, they don't have sufficient military might, they have the power to talk to interested party, allies. This is why we've always been saying to young Yoruba, you can never get to rule Nigeria. You can never get to the Dua Republic if you do not lobby the United States of America. Fulani are subjugating us. Fulani are enslaving us today because they have the backing of the English. Fulani will talk that Nigeria is not negotiable, that there's nothing you can do. Fulani who cannot produce ordinary grenade bomb, hand grenade bomb, they can't produce it. Fulani can't produce drone. Fulani cannot produce atomic bomb. Fulani cannot produce nitrogen bomb. But the Yoruba nation can do all of this. These same people who cannot amount to anything, who cannot produce anything, will boldly say to you that Nigeria is not going to be changed. Nigeria will not go back to regional government. Who think is behind it? Who do you think is behind it? It's the English that is speaking. Because Fulani are serving as the English colonial officers, stealing the Yoruba wealth. But it wasn't Fulani who destroyed Nigeria. It was the Igbo. So you can get it from the views of Zeke. The people, the Hausa Fulani said in 1953 that they don't want to be part of Nigeria. Zeke said if you opt out, you will not use waterways. If you opt out, you cannot increase the price of your agricultural produce. If you opt out, Yoruba will not buy your agricultural produce. Igbo won't buy your agricultural produce. If you opt out of Nigeria and you increase tariff on your agricultural produce, we will go to war. Is that reasonable? Sorry, are we going to war with Benin Republic that are importing rice through their border, through our borderways? The worst we did, we closed the border. Ghana produced their own goods. They sell it at any price to us in Nigeria. Are we going to war with them? So you ask yourself a simple question. Why is Zeke and the Igbo are so concerned that the Hausa Fulani must remain part of Nigeria by all means? Why was he threatening them? Because he knew something that our parent generation had no idea. The economic nationalism in the eastern region. The Jaw were saying, we don't want to be part of the Igbo. The Efikibi were saying, we don't want to be part of the Igbo. They sent a delegate to the Queen, to the extent that the Queen sent a representation down to Nigeria. And this man, Sir Erin Wilkin, recommended that Ijaw should have their own region. Efikibibio should have their own region. Igbo destroy Nigeria. You will see more of this. You will see more of this. That is one side of this whole thing. This, what I've explained, happened in 1953. Then something again happened in 1954. The Yoruba, through our political party, the Action Group, that is today the APC Yoruba, moved a motion in 1954 saying that, look, if Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani, and Igbo, if we must be together under one country, there must be a clause to opt out if you are tired of the union. So the Yoruba said, we must put cessation clause in the constitution. This is how they put it. During this deliberation, the action group delegation demanded the recognition in the constitution of the right of succession, the right to leave Nigeria. That was what Awolowo moved. That look, folks, we're different people. We're not the same. We don't have the same language. We don't have the same culture. We don't even have the same gods. If we must be together as a country, there must be a clause that when the Yoruba are tired, they get out without war. What happened, folks? The Igbo, through Zik, said no. Igbo were dedicated to giving Nigeria a unitary constitution before it compromised on federalism. The NCNC delegation during the 1954 resumed conference in Lagos rejected the action group plea for the right of succession. They rejected that. You know what they said when Awolowo said, let us put this clause in the constitution of Nigeria, so anybody who wants to go away can go away peacefully without war. The Igbos said no, and they said that secession should be declared as an illegal act and an invitation to anarchy. Let us be realistic as human beings. You want to form a football club. Let us use that example. Team A, Team B, Team C. You are different football club. You want to come together as one. Team A, that is Yoruba, saying, okay, if we must come together as one, we must put an exit strategy. So if I no longer like the team, I want to opt out and form my own football team. But the team C, the Igbo said, no, if we join, we are joined forever. No, let's be reasonable. Even marriages do not last forever. When one party is off, maybe tired of the other party, they go for divorce. That is it. But the Igbo said, no, we cannot put secession clause in the constitution. It is illegal. It is not right. It will lead to war. No way. Why? They lack access to waterways and have no crude oil. From day one, before Nigeria was actually officially created on the 1st of October 1960. What you call amalgamation happened in 1914. Amalgamation simply means that instead of having 3 different administrations of the English colonial thought, running 3 different administrations, they used one administration to run Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa Fulani together. That is what amalgamation means. Nigeria was actually created on the 1st of October 1960 through negotiation. So you are seeing a party saying, no, if you join this football team, it is forever, till they do us part. So that is something in their mind that the Yoruba were not aware at that moment. Hausa Fulani said, look, I don't like this football team in 1953. I don't like this football team. I want to opt out. Igbo were saying, if you leave, you will not have this, you will not have this, we're going to go to war with you. Igbo nation from day one realizes, you know what their problem started the first time they left Igbo land and came to Lagos. They thought they were in heaven. They could see development. So from day one, Igbo nation has been strategizing on how to dominate Yoruba and Hausa Fulani. Things turn around for them negatively on July 1966. You're going to see. So that is another screenshot that which we have produced. Is screenshot action group motion of 1954 to include the right of secession in the Constitution of Nigeria. Now, guys can send this to you. So we are not the kind of movement that does propaganda. We don't do propaganda. We speak nothing but the truth. So folks, this is the basis of the problem of Nigeria. From day one, Igbo people wanted to suppress everybody in Nigeria. God was kind on the Yoruba people and the Hausa people. That was why the Igbo didn't succeed. When Awolowo moved the motion that let us put this clause Igbo people said no. This is the screenshot of Azikwe's statement of 1954, in which the Igbo rejected a right of secession to be included in the Constitution of Nigeria. They called the secession illegal acts, an invitation to anarchy. They had a mind to steal other people's land, other people's wealth. The Igbo will tell you Ruga. The Igbo will tell you Fulanization. From day one, they had intention of taking over Nigeria for themselves. You're going to see this, folks. You're going to see many more of these. You're going to see many more of these. We are not getting into the Constitution of Western Nigeria proper. This is just the introductory part. We're going to be speaking on chapter 1, which is titled The Governor. You will see the power of the leadership of Yoruba nation and appreciate what the generation before us, our grandparent generation, did. Okay. Sorry, guys. So you realize what they did in 1953, what the Igbo did, what they did again in 1954, so that I would not have to repeat this. Come back again and come here. So, sluggishly, the Igbo agreed to regional government by 1959. They always wanted unitary system that we have today. So in 1959, they just agreed to it sluggishly because they wanted unitary presidential system. So in 1960, we chased away the English colonial Turks and we started Nigeria. Then the Igbo team up with the Fulani. And I want to say this to you, folks. You might not know the art of politicians. Majority of politicians, which I'm inclusive, we speak, we have public view, we have private view. So many things we don't speak in public. Unlike the YYF, we speak everything in public. The Igbo, we don't have any shred of evidence to see this, but the Igbo nation had a private conversation with the Hausa Fulani nation and told the Hausa Fulani nation that if they are not part of Nigeria, they will suffer. They told the Hausa Fulani nation that they must come together, the two of them, to control and dominate the Yoruba people because of the Yoruba waterways and because of our crude oil. This is their private conversation. So in 1960, both of them teamed up together to form the first government of Nigeria after the English colonial Turk left. It was the Igbo who impressed it on the Hausa Fulani that they must work together to destroy Yoruba land. But we have news for you, Igbo and Hausa Fulani. Our generation will destroy you. We've been saying that Lagos is your graveyard. This generation is more knowledgeable than our parents. So they both went into government of 1960, a coalition government. Hausa Fulani, Tafawa Balewa, became the prime minister. Igbo Zik became the governor general. You understand? So they were suppressing the Yoruba nation. But in 1960, the plan of the Igbo couldn't wait. You know why? In 1959, Igbo and Hausa Fulani had an agreement that Hausa Fulani would be prime minister for 4 years. That by 1964, it will be the turn of the Igbo to be prime minister. Meanwhile, the Igbo have already populated themselves into the military. They were more in military. They planned everything from day one, how to subrogate the Yoruba nation and everybody in Nigeria. They put their children in the military. Yoruba were not aware. So by 1964, there was to be another election. Tafawa Balewa, Hausa Fulani said, look, this power is too sweet. I'm not willing to give it to you. He recontested for the second term and he won. So the Igbo were upset. Zik triggered the signal from the military and said to Aguiyi-Ironsi to strike. Aguiyi-Ironsi was the head of the army, an Igbo man. He struck in 1960. They killed all Yoruba political leaders. The only reason why Awolowo survived was because he was locked up in prison already by the Igbo and Hausa Fulani. So that was what he did. So what happened, folks? After the coup, the Igbo took power, 1966. The first thing they did, they were the only, out of the two, they were the only people who rejected regional government from day one when we were negotiating for the constitution. They said they want unity system. They wanted presidential system under unity. That's what they want. So the moment they took power, because Tafawa Balewa recontested in 1964, he won again. The Igbo planned the coup, killed him, killed all Yoruba leaders, and took power via the military. The first thing they went for is that constitution they never liked from day one, the regional government constitution. They suspended it. This constitution that we are going to be interpreting for the next 20 days, the Yoruba constitution was suspended by the Igbo. They suspended the Nigerian constitution also. This Yoruba constitution is the oldest constitution in Nigeria before the constitution of 1959. The Yoruba constitution was enacted into law in 1952. It's older than the Nigerian constitution that was made in 1959. So they went straight for the constitution. They destroyed the regional system of government. They destroyed the regional system of government. So they instituted Decree number 34, where they proclaimed Nigeria a unitary system of government. Folks, help me to circulate this. This is Decree 39 of 1966, the Igbo Decree. I've titled it, I've sent it to some of the YF members. It's the Gazette of Decree 34 of 1966, in which the Igbo suspended the Constitution of Nigeria and the regional constitution and proclaimed Nigeria a unitary system of government. By Decree 34, Nigeria ceased to be a federation and became a republic. So let me read part of the section of this Decree 34. This is Decree 34. When we speak as a movement, Young Yoruba for Freedom, the only thing that we do is to speak the truth. We speak nothing but the truth. We are not propagandists like the Igbo and the Yoruba liberals. Recently, Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò came up and said that there are 500 power bikers, ISIS terrorists wearing uniform in a particular place in Yoruba land. He couldn't even produce a shred of evidence. Last year, the same man said that there were more than 1,000 Fulani cells across Yoruba land. Nothing, not a single shred of evidence could be released to corroborate his statement. When we speak as a people, we're speaking to intelligent citizens and we want their votes. We should be able to speak nothing but truth to them. So this is Decree 34. You have a copy. They are going to help you to circulate it so that you can see. The first section says Nigeria to be a republic. Nigeria was never a republic. 3 people agreed that Nigeria will be a federation of regions. One of these 3 people, the Igbo, single-handedly turned Nigeria from a federation to a republic. I will read the first line of that decree. You can see decree number 34. It says here, the federal military government hereby decrees as follows. 1. Subject to the provision of this decree, Nigeria shall on the 24th May 1966 cease to be a federation and shall accordingly from that day be a republic by the name of the Republic of Nigeria. Igbo destroy Nigeria. It is not the amalgamation of 1914 that destroyed your country, like the stupid Yoruba liberal want you to believe. It is Igbo who destroyed Nigeria. Folks, I have good news for you. If you vote Tinubu as president in 2023, we're going to change this back to the original constitution. We will reject this Decree 34. An executive order will be issued that will turn Nigeria back to regional system of government. We're going to have decentralized democracy. If the Igbo do not wish it, they will have their landlord, Lesotho of Nigeria. If the Hausa Fulani are not interested in a return to regional government, they can have their Hariawa Republic. Nobody is concerned about that. 3 people created a nation called Federation. It's a name. Nigeria is Federation of Regions. Igbo single-handedly changed it to a republic because they want to enslave everybody. They tell you Fulanization. Fulani are everywhere. This is the latest one. Let me just add this. This is not a digression. You see, Iba Gani Adam talks about Fulani. Fulani are everywhere. Fulani are everywhere. He doesn't have a clue of what the Igbo are doing. No, he does. Because Igbo are funding him. He cannot speak the truth. We did vehicular movement counting in 2012. The Young Yoruba for Freedom. We found out that over 500 vehicles traveled from Igbo land into Yoruba land every blessed day. Less than 100 vehicles travel from Yoruba land to Igbo land every day. This is a difference of 400 vehicles coming into Yoruba land from Igbo land every blessed day. We did an estimate of 50 passengers per vehicle. So if you multiply 50 passengers by 400 vehicles that are entering into Yoruba land every day from Igbo land, that is 20,000 passengers. 20,000 people from Igbo land troop into Yoruba land every day. Fulani don't have such a figure of people trooping into Yoruba land. So if you multiply 20 by 7, that is 140,000 people, Igbo people, coming to Yoruba land every week. Unrestricted, unregulated. If you multiply that, you will have in a month 560,000 Igbo people coming into Yoruba land every month. Are they not enough to be ISIS and kill every one of us in Yoruba land? 560,000 Igbo are moving into Yoruba land every day. If you multiply that by 12 months, we're talking about 6.7 million Igbo coming into Yoruba land every year. Are we as rich as America? No. Are we as rich as England? No. Why should we allow the influx of these people into our space? But Adeyinka is concerned about 500 ISIS terrorists when 6.7 million Igbo move into Yoruba land. What do you think they are coming to do? If Yoruba land is that great, what am I looking for in England? Why are you doing cleaning job in England? Why are you doing kabu kabu in America? If Yoruba land is that great, the United Kingdom would not allow less than 300,000 people to come into his country every year. And the stupid Igbo will say, oh, we are all one Nigeria. Yeah, we might be one Nigeria. Why will you be releasing 6.7 million of your inhabitants to move into another region? What is that? That is war. But Adeyinka doesn't consider that. He does propaganda news every now and then. Let's continue with this decree number 34. This is what the Igbo did. So if I ask you a question, who changed Nigerian name from Federation to Republic of Nigeria? The answer is Igbo. So stupid Yoruba Libra will tell you, amalgamation is our problem. No, amalgamation is not our problem. The suspension of regional government by the Igbo is our problem. Igbo plan evil from day one to destroy Nigeria, particularly to suppress the Yoruba people. That is what they've done. So you see the Gazette. So we don't have to tell you lies. If you see from the Gazette, you will see the unification of public services. So many things that you're going to hear today, folks. So many things. So they were the people who changed the name of Nigeria. Today, what do you call Nigeria? Federal Republic of Nigeria. Igbo changed the name. Nigeria as name was Federation of Nigeria. We were practicing regional government. Igbo hated regional government just because they want to control Yoruba waterways and crude oil. So you see that the facts are there. Why do you think the Igbo suspended regional government when they took power in 1966? They cancelled the regional constitution. They turned Nigeria into a republic. They thought that Zik would remain the president of Nigeria. They thought that Zik or Urosin will remain in power until they have installed all Igbo citizens across the length and breadth of the regional polities and civil services. Igbo innate desire before Nigeria was created in 1960. Nigeria was actually created in 1960. Administrative control of Nigeria was done by amalgamation in 1914. Nothing like Nigeria until 1960, when you had a proper constitution that all of you that were inside that Nigeria agreed to. That was when Nigeria was created. Igbo destroyed because they thought that Zik would be president so that they would put all of themselves in power. So they changed the name. If you look at the next screenshot, this is the Gazette of the 1966 creation of states. Now, if you ask young Yoruba, who created the 36th state of Nigeria, all of you are going to fail, including your parents. You will fail that simple question. You will say that Gowon created 12 states in 1967. That's what you are going to say. That after Gowon, Muritala Muhammad created additional state. After Muritala Muhammad, Babangida created additional state. After Babangida, Abacha created another. You will fail. You will fail. The 36 states you have today were all created by Igbo in 1966. We do not speak without fact. We are not Ariel Ogagamfu and the other Yoruba Libra that are doing propaganda all over the place. We have evidence to back it up. This is our evidence. Circulate these guys so that they can see. This was released by the federal government. Something I said to people is that, you know, when I was arrested for terrorism, our guys are used to give us information about Aso Rock, information about federal government. You know, a lot of them were relieved of their position because they found a lot of their phone number on my phone. But we have a way of getting information. That's why we are releasing this to the public. This is the state creation of Nigeria in 1966. If you are in doubt, guys, just show it. I title it The Gazette of 1966, Creation of the 35 Prophecies by the Igbo within each region. The prophecies are the 36 states today. If you doubt me, you have the copy of that. Let us look at this. This Decree 34 created 36 states. One, they call them prophecies. Prophecies are the same thing as states. In South Africa, they call their state prophecies. When we practice regional government, we were calling state prophecies. And the 36 states were created in 1966. Gowon did not create state. A lot of you will Google it and say, you will see Gowon created this state. This is the record. This is the what Gowon did was to pick on what Abu Irosi has already decreed and start creating the state piecemeal by piecemeal. Piecemeal by piecemeal. Let's just look at the names of the state. In 1966, Igbo created Sokoto states. They call them prophecies then. Sokoto state, Katsina state, Kano state, Borno state, Ilorin, they call it Ilorin, which is equivalent to Kwara state. Niger state, Zaria state is Zamfara now. Bauchi state, Plateau state, Adamawa state, Benue state, Kaba province, which is today Kogi state, Kaduna state, Capital Territory, and Sardauna state. Sardauna state is today is not Sokoto, it's in Kebbi now. So in the northern region, it divided them into 15 states, including the Capital Territory. In the whole eastern region, Agui Rosin divided it into 12 provinces. Provinces are states are the same thing. He called them Enugu state, Abakaliki, which is Aba state, Ogoja, which is Cross River now, Onitsha, which is, I don't know the name of the state of the Onitsha now, Owerri, which is another state, these are the state capital, Calabar, Umaya, Port Harcourt, which is Rivers today, Anang, Uyo, Degema, and Yenogwa, which is Bayelsa State today. So he created 12 states in Eastern Province. In the Yoruba Western region, he created 7 states. Abeokuta, which is today Ogun State. Colony, which is today Lagos State. Ibadan, which is today Oyo State. Ijebu, which is today Ogun State as well. Ondo, which is today Ondo State. Oyo 1, which is today Osun State. Oyo 2, which is today Ekiti State. And in the Midwest, he created 2 provinces, which are today Bini, which is Edo State, and Delta State. It was the Igbo people who created the state in Nigeria. What Gowon did was to look at this decree number 34 and said, okay, I'll create Sokoto, Katsina, Kano, and created 12. Muritala Muhammad came, he took this decree 34 and created additional state based on what was been there before. Abacha came, took this decree 34 and created additional state to meet up with what Gowon has done, because Gowon has already created it by decree. Abacha came, he took all this and he created it. Gowon created 35 states in Aguiyi-Ironsi created 35 states and 36 states as far back as 1966. It is in the Gazette of the federal government. So what every subsequent leader did, head of state, they took power with no election. Aguiyi-Ironsi had nobody voted for Aguiyi-Ironsi, nobody voted for Gowon, nobody voted for Muritala Muhammad, nobody voted for Babangida, nobody voted for Abacha. These were the people who created the state based on the information that has already been decreed by Aguiyi-Ironsi. Igbo created the 36 state in Nigeria. Do you know why they created the 36 state? For easy entry into Yoruba land. So what they thought is that Zik will remain president or Aguiyi-Ironsi will forever be president. So with the power of the military, so they can go to Abeokuta and say, look, I want Igbo in the civil service. Such a governor will put Igbo there. So they divide the region so that they can easily take over everybody in Nigeria. So folks, don't fall for the gimmick that otherwise. This is the fact. These were the states created since 1966. Each government were just naming them after the other when they were in power. Igbo has already destroyed Nigeria. Igbo destroyed Nigeria. They will never be president. No English can be president of the United States of America because they were defeated in the Civil War. You have never found any English since 1776. Igbo can never rule in Nigeria. Forget about that. Igbo will not rule. They destroy Nigeria. So that was what they did. Another thing the Igbo did. So if you are asked, who changed the name of Nigeria from Federation of Nigeria to Republic? Igbo. Who created the 36 states of Nigeria? This is a shit system. Igbo did to control everybody. They wanted to put their own as administrators. Now, number 3, who created the Federal Civil Service? There was nothing like Federal Civil Service. Igbo created Federal Civil Service. This is under Decree 34. How the Federal Civil Service was created by the Igbo. I will tell you why they created it. When we were running regional government, all government agency, whether federal or regional, if the jobs is in your region, it is the citizen from that region that will be employed. So in police, in military, in immigration, in customs, name it, in prison. If the offices are in your region, it is your children from that region that will be employed. Igbo couldn't get jobs in Yoruba region. The prison that were in Igbo land, the immigration offices that were in Igbo land, the military bases that were in Igbo land, the police stations that were in Igbo land, it was Igbo who were employed there. Likewise, all of these things that were in the north, it was Hausa, Fulani, and those from the north who were employed there. But the Igbo were not still satisfied. They wanted an entry into Yoruba region. That was why they suspended everything in Nigeria. Aguiyi-Ironsi, in the unification decree, he barged all regional government public service into one and call them National Public Service Commission, which is today the Federal Civil Service. That is why you go to immigration office in Festac, you would think that you are in Enugu. All of them are Igbo there. You can never have this under regional government. You go to the custom in Yoruba land, you would think you are in Sokoto. You go to our airport in Yoruba land, you would think that you are in Hausa Fulani land. The officials are Hausa Fulani children. When we Yoruba don't have children, that we are washing toilet in England. Go to our police in Yoruba land, it is Hausa Fulani that you will see. It is because of this unification. Agui Yerosin, the Igbo man, merge all public services, regional public services, he merged them together and called them National Public Service Commission, which is today Federal Civil Service. That's why they are using quota system. Under regional government, all the federal government agencies, department and ministries in Yoruba land, it is Yoruba children that you will see there. All the federal government agency, ministries and department in Igbo land, it is Igbo children that you will see there. All the federal government agency, ministry and department in the north, it is Hausa Fulani and Northerners that you will see there. Today, they have taken all the job because of this decree. We're not Ariel Nogagavu that will give you bullshit. This is the Gazette of 1966, unification. I would read some of it for you. It said, as from the appointed day, all offices in the services of the Republic in a civil capacity shall be offices in a single service to be known as the National Public Service. And accordingly, all persons who immediately before the day are members of the public service of the Federation or the public service of a region shall on that day become members of the National Public Service. It merged everything together. Igbo centralized Nigeria. They will never rule. It is because you are not you are not knowledgeable, you are not informed. That's why you think Igbo will be amount to anything. That's why we keep saying to you, before you go to war, you must know why you want to kill. You just don't get up and take a gun and start killing people. Igbo destroyed Nigeria. It is not the 1914 amalgamation that causes Nigerian problem. It is the Igbo suspension of Nigeria. They unified everything. They thought that they would be in power forever. But since then, Fulani took power from them, and Fulani have been messing up everybody in Nigeria. You first deal with the Igbo, then you face the Fulani, because Fulani has the backing of the English. That's what they did. In another paragraph, he said, the Public Service Commission established under Section 146 of the Constitution of the Republic shall be known as the National Public Service Commission, and references in that section and elsewhere to the Public Service Commission of the Federation shall be amended accordingly. Look at employment. We're coming to employment. He went on to say, notwithstanding anything contained in the Constitution of the Republic or a group of provinces, the member of the Public Service Commission of the Federation and of the region who immediately before the appointed date hold office shall continue in office until the appointment expire or as sooner revoked and fresh appointment are made. When they centralized the public service, there was nothing like Federal Civil Service. That is the truth. When Igbo centralized the public service, they retired all the Yorubas and populated themselves there. They control every offices in Yoruba land. These guys hate you with passion. When the police arrested me and said to me, why do I hate Igbo? I said them, I hate them. I did not pretend. They killed my elder brother. They killed Akintola. They destroy Yoruba land. They are coming to do crimes across Yoruba land. They do armed robbery, they do kidnapping, they do vandalism, they do drug, they sell fake drug. They're killing our people. We don't want them in our space. It is the statement of fact. They're killing a lot of Yoruba graduates. When you kill one graduate, do you know what you have lost? It is unquantifiable. It takes 16 years to raise a graduate. 16 years gone down the drain. And Igbo are killing our people as armed robbers. See that? They revoke the appointment of all the Yoruba in the civil service in our region. Put Igbo there. You go to Lagos State civil service, you see Igbo. They have equal numbers as Yoruba. You go to Ibadan, you have Igbo there. Yoruba shit. Our parent generation really messed up big time. Igbo destroyed this system. They had their own region, yet they were targeting to work in Yoruba region. Why don't you create job for your own people in your own region? They destroy Nigeria. Go on. Look at this. It is decree number 34. I'm reading to you. Continuation, suspension, and modification number 5. This is federal government document. It went on to say, subject to the provision of this section, power to appoint person to hold or act in offices in the National Public Service, including power to make appointment on promotion and to confirm appointment and to dismiss and exercise disciplinary control over person holding or acting in such offices shall, as from the appointed day, vested in the National Public Service Commission. So if you must appoint anybody to work in civil service, if you must dismiss, if you must do anything, it must be done by the National Public Service Commission, which is today Federal Civil Service. The Igbo put their own children in all government jobs across Yoruba land. They are still doing it today, but I have good news for the Yoruba youth. I think my generation will be the last Yoruba generation that will be looking up to go to America, to go to Canada, to go to European country for greener pasture. If we put Tinubu there as president from 2023, our generation will be the last to run out of our space. We have the wealth. They use the unitary system to destroy Yoruba land. That is why we are abroad. Imagine, that was what my mother was saying. Imagine somebody's child to be arrested 8 times when I'm not a criminal. 8 times. Is it not because I live in England? So if I live in Yoruba land, you think police will arrest me 8 times? And if we have regional government? This is what we face abroad. Our generation will be the last Yoruba generation that will be running away from our homeland. Look at the video that we are seeing from Lebanon, from Saudi Arabia, of Yoruba women pleading for help to be repatriated home because the Igbo unified the civil service. So they will tell you we have quota system, that we must have equal number of Yoruba and Hausa Fulani employed in the federal civil service. Is that reasonable? What we Yoruba youth are saying, Igbo, you run your own civil service in your fucking region. Hausa Fulani, run your own civil service in your fucked up region. Any federal government job in Yoruba land is reserved for Yoruba children. If you think this is going to be a joke, you will know when we start attacking you with guns. So you want us to come and watch toilet for English, right? So you take the jobs. Igbo destroy Nigeria. It is not the amalgamation that destroy Nigeria. This is the fact that we are reading out for you. This is it. Look at another thing they said when they want to appoint people in the public service. He said, the National Public Service Commission may, with the approval of the head of the national military government, either conditionally or unconditionally delegate any of its power under Section 1 above to any person or authority in Nigeria. Igbo controls everything. That they delegated the power to Igbo people. Folks, they've destroyed you for far too long. Today, Fulani took power from the Igbo and are still doing the same thing that the Igbo started. Why? Because Zik scared them that if Nigeria breaks, you will not be able to use Yoruba waterways. You will not have access to benefit from crude oil. But I have good news for you, Yoruba. I, as an individual, I like the white people from America. If you're African American or black, you don't like what I'm saying, it's your fucked up problem. It is my right to express my love for whoever I desire. And I have my reason for that. We have gone to war with the English about 4 times. 1851, 1855, 1892, and 1901. Yes, nobody in Africa helped us, except the white people from Brazil and white people from Portugal. But black people from Ghana, black people from Sierra Leone, black people from Hausa Fulani land enlisted in the English military to kill Yoruba people. So because you are black, I have to like you. You must be crazy. Aside that, folks, don't fall for the gimmick of the Yoruba Libra saying that the amalgamation of 1914 destroyed Nigeria. No, the suspension of the regional government destroyed Nigeria. Igbo are common criminals. That is who you should know. That's why we are gratifying that they are being chased away all over the world. Do you see Yoruba being chased away from South Africa? Are Yoruba being chased away from China? Are Yoruba being chased away from Singapore, Malaysia? Are Yoruba being chased away from Togo, Benin Republic, or Ghana? No. Igbo, they do crimes. Every time they are doing crime. Because what? They lack the human capital to grow the economic of their space. They lack it. So, you see now, the fundamental things that have destroyed Nigeria, Igbo caused it. One, the change of Nigerian name. They suspended regional government and changed the name to the Republic. We were federation. They created the 36 state. You have seen it with evidence. They created the Federal Civil Service. So Fulani are saying, we want to employ. This is what this guy was saying. I've forgotten his name. From Urobo guy. Half Urobo, half Yoruba. That is a minister that is creating jobs. He said they are going to create 774,000 jobs. 774,000. Yeah, 774 jobs. Because we have 774 local governments. Sorry, these jobs will be reserved for Hausa Fulani children more. Because they have more of the local government. Because everything was centralized by the Igbo. I was telling a friend, everything in Nigeria, I like white people. I don't have to pretend. When white people relate with each other, they are honest. Look at white people in the United Kingdom, English, Scottish, Welsh, and Northern Irish. They don't have the same Christian association. English have their own association. They call it Church of England. Scotland call their own Church of Scotland. Wales call their own Church of Wales. And Northern Ireland call their own a different name. They don't have the same bar association of lawyers. No. English Bar Association, Scottish Bar Association. They don't even have the same football team. English football team, Scottish football team, Welsh football team. Northern Irish, they have their own football team. They don't have the same police. They don't have the same military. They don't have the same health care. They don't have the same educational system. Education is free from primary school to university in Scotland. It is not free from primary school to university in England. Education is only free from primary school to secondary school in England. If you must go to university, you pay. Everything is different. Nigeria Student Association, Nigerian Christian Association, Pentecostal Christian Association, National this, national, and then all of you, you know that you don't speak the same language. Yoruba is different from Hausa. Hausa is different from Igbo. But you nationalize and centralize every of your fucked up life. You are not the same. So as black people, you don't speak truth to yourself, but white people, they speak truth to themselves. That is why everything is different. You cannot see a national association in United Kingdom. The association is always separate. What stops the Yoruba from having their own bar association? What stops the Yoruba from having their own football team? What stops the Yoruba from having their own educational system? But we are grateful to God because Tinubu is coming to devolve administration to the regions. Igbo destroy Nigeria. We're talking about the constitution. We're talking about the constitution of Western region tonight, right? Day one. We need to point out to the world. We need to point out to young Yoruba that the 1914 amalgamation is not the cause of our problem. The greediness of the Igbo people. They are criminals everywhere. Everywhere they are horrible people. So this is what they've done. But unfortunately, they lost the power. Fulani took over power. Because they have instilled fear in the minds of the Fulani that if Nigeria should go back to regional government, Fulani will have to pay tolls to use Yoruba waterways. Fulani will not enjoy the crude oil, proceeds from crude oil. That is why Fulani are holding on to Nigeria under the unitary system. Fulani are afraid that if they should leave grip on power, their life will be fucked. That is what the Igbo impress on them. So what is Fulani doing? Yeah, they approached the English and allowed the English to help them through military weapon. So whenever the Yoruba leaders say, we don't want this system, boom, they kill them. Nothing will happen because Fulani has the backing of the English. Whenever a Yoruba man says, no, we don't want this system, he's picked up, they put him in prison. Nothing will happen because Fulani has the backing of the English. So our generation were different. We want to also have the backing of the the United States of America, and said to it is English that we actually want to confront. By the time the Igbo and Fulani see the way and manner we confronted English in Yoruba land, they will bow down for this generation. And that's why we've been advocating that we must nationalize all English businesses. I started using the word nationalize, because after my interview with the police said to me, why do you wish to destroy our businesses? And I said to them, you don't like me saying that they should destroy your businesses in Yoruba land, right? But you support minority Fulani. In your country, minority in your country are the Northern Irish. They are 3% of your population. Why are you not allowing them to be prime minister of your country? Why is it you English becoming prime minister? So if you don't want me to advocate that your businesses in Yoruba land will be destroyed, then we are going to get a new name. We will nationalize them. So Standard Chartered Bank, we are going to take you down. You belong to English businesses, you are going down. Cadbury, you are going down. PricewaterhouseCoopers, you are going down. Guinness, you just experienced a fire outbreak. You will also go down. By the time the Hausa Fulani sees that we are willing to confront English businesses and English interests in Yoruba, and they will respect this generation. Because I, as an individual, and one young Yoruba for freedom as a movement, we would rather allow America to take and control 10% of our wealth than to continue to allow Hausa Fulani with the backing of the English and the Igbo to take 92% of our wealth and give us back 8% in return. Who does that? So folks, Igbo destroy your life. All the propaganda that they want Biafra is all shit. It's all lies. They want Nigeria to remain the same. That was why in 1953, they threatened the Hausa Fulani that if you leave Nigeria, you will not have access to water. If you leave Nigeria, nobody will buy your agricultural produce. If you leave Nigeria and put tariff on your agricultural produce, we will go to war with you. Who does all of these things? They're only greedy people. Hausa Fulani, we've impressed it upon them. However you like it, that you think that our generation will bow down for you to continue to control us when we face hell abroad. You're joking. What happened in Lebanon to their ports is coming to happen to the port in Yoruba land. And it is we, the young Yoruba, that will shut down those two ports. We will ruin it. And America will come and rebuild it for us. We are going to be indebted to the United States of America, and you, Hausa Fulani, will pay back that indebtedness because you will eventually pay that toll to use our port. But if you are sensible, you will agree to devolve administration so that Yoruba control their port in peace. We control our crude oil in peace. You build dry ports in Kano, Kaduna, so you clear your goods from our ports after paying your tolls. Then you take these goods to your dry port in Kano and Kaduna. Then the people from Niger Republic, people from Chad Republic will patronize you and you get money from them. That way you are making money. So if you want to continue to follow the dictates of Igbo who are greedy, your greediness, Hausa Fulani, will consume you because you are going to lose everything. I am speaking from London. You understand? If I call out young Yoruba to blow up Apapa Wharf, there's nothing the police can do to me in their country. I'm not calling out anybody to go and blow up any English area or infrastructure in England. No, I am a Yoruba citizen and I've become the Akpoti area of Yoruba land. I speak on behalf of the Yoruba youth. We are going to shut down the port in Lagos as well as the Lagos International Airport and the Lagos Stock Exchange. It is ours. But English are backing Fulani to control these resources. That's why I am living in England. I have been arrested 8 times of my life. Many Yoruba are doing horrible jobs abroad because all our jobs in Yoruba land has been appropriated through the unification of public services of all the regions by the Igbo. So folks, if you want solution to our problem, this is where we are going to get this solution. I believe that we are going to go to war. And our weapon of choice is chemical and biological weapon. Because Fulani, with the English, they don't want Tinubu to be president. They know he's pro-Yoruba. Tinubu will never accept for the federal government agencies, ministries and departments in Yoruba land to be appropriated by Hausa Fulani. No, Tinubu will not accept it. Tinubu will not accept for military bases in Yoruba land to be under the control of Hausa Fulani. No, Tinubu will say to Hausa Fulani that the military bases in Hausa Fulani land, it is yours to control. The police in Hausa Fulani land, it is yours to control Hausa Fulani. You can't control the police in Yoruba land. You can't control the military in Yoruba land. You can't control the port in Yoruba land. You can't control the crude oil in Yoruba land. President Trump is not controlling the crude oil in California or Texas or Alaska. President Trump does not control the military. The states control the military. And we are not going to run states in Nigeria. We're going to run regions. We are an indigenous nation. We're not a nation of immigrants like the United States. We cannot have 36 states that Igbo created in 1966. So folks, the unitary system is a weapon of war introduced by the Igbo to conquer Yoruba land. I've shown you how they did it. It's a weapon of war. That is why till tomorrow, Igbo leaders, Igbo youth, Igbo opinion leaders, Igbo governors, Igbo senators, till tomorrow they will never accept a return to regional government. They will never. Ohaneze Indibo will not accept a return to regional government. Nnamdi Kanu High Pop will never accept a return to regional government. Igbo governors, senators, and elected politicians, they will never accept a return to regional government. Likewise, Hausa Fulani leaders. That is why we are going to go to war. Because these guys want to continue to control, suppress, and subjugate the Yoruba nation. We will not accept this. So unitary system introduced by the Igbo is a weapon of war. It is a weapon of war. The unitary system as a weapon of war enables the Igbo people to mass migrate to Yoruba. And I just told you how 6.7 million Igbo move to Yoruba land every year. On a daily basis, 400 vehicles. We challenge the liberals. We want to challenge the office of Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò. Go and commission a research. Vehicular movement of the people coming from the north and the people coming from Igbo land. Do it. Every time you see video of trailers full of people coming from Hausa Fulani land, apprehended maybe in Shagamu or in Lagos, you will see people and everybody will be shouting on the internet. But every day, 400 vehicles from Igbo land cross into Yoruba land. An average of 50 passengers per vehicle. That is 20,000 passengers every day. 20,000. Imagine that in a week. That is 140,000. In a month, 560,000 people from Igbo land trooping into our space. Do you see the videos? No. They come through their vehicles. But if the Hausa Fulani are coming with their trailers, you will see, they are here or they are taking over. 6.7 million Igbos are coming into Yoruba land every year. How can we afford that as a people? So the unitary system is a weapon of war. Igbo mass migrate into Yoruba land. They are coming to commit nefarious crime in your space. Crime like armed robbery. They go into your banks and kill your people. When I was young, I told you, you will go to Aleshinoye market, you will see Igbo spread their wares on the floor doing banjo. You will see a shoe worth 5,000. They will be selling it for 100 naira because they have looted it from a Yoruba shop and selling it anyhow. They do all manners of crime. They sell children. I don't understand why these people cannot formulate a policy of adoption. If a woman and a man cannot have their own baby, they can go and adopt. But Igbo would rather kidnap children and go and sell it. These are horrible human beings that should not be allowed to come into your space. They are the people who introduce ritual killings into Yoruba land. Unitary system is a weapon of war. Because of this unitary system, Igbo intermarried with Yoruba women as a way to populate themselves with Yoruba liberals. So you have people of half Yoruba, half Igbo. They have a divided mindset. They are not very firm on any political issue. They use the proceeds of crimes in Yoruba land to appropriate our markets. Now you ask yourself, why is it so difficult to sell guguru and epa for Yoruba women? Why is it a big tax to sell gari, rice and beans and other foodstuff? Why must Igbo be involved in all of these businesses? businesses that are meant for our women, businesses that are meant for our mothers. Why must they? Because our women can no longer afford this, because Igbo have committed crime in Yoruba land, so they have populated themselves in our market, took over our market, and sell things within the ridiculous price, because they have looted our banks and used the money to set up business, to buy up our properties, to sleep with our women. And I like the policy of Ghana, and I'm going to speak on that tomorrow on day 2. Unity system has a weapon of war. The Igbo are using the unity system to sabotage the Yoruba political interest by voting for the Fulani. Every presidential election, they queue behind Fulani, because they know that if a Yoruba man is the president, a full-blooded Yoruba is the president of Nigeria, is going to take back our port. In case you don't know, we have the Gazette. Muritala Muhammad in 1975 took the port away from us, the port in Lagos. It belongs to us. We run it. Our children were working there. Go there now. It is Hausa, Fulani, and Igbo that you will see there. We're going to blow up that port. I can assure you 100%. That port is going down. They don't allow us to take the presidency in 2023. That port is going down. There's nothing the English Navy can do. We will shame English. First, we are going to attack their business interests in Yoruba. Like you will see. We don't want them in our space. So Yoruba, you should be ashamed of yourself. You go to France, you go to Germany, you go to England, you will be applying for asylum. Rather than for you to go to war with the Igbo and Hausa Fulani and take back your homeland. You will be applying for asylum. They treat you like slaves. And I would like to say this before I continue. I've got a master's degree. I started my PhD at the age of 27, but I couldn't finish that PhD because of a medical issue with my son. I am being referred to in England as an immigrant. Yes, I am. So we want to say this now. Any foreigner in Yoruba land, be it Igbo, Fulani, English, French, German, Lebanese, Indians, if you dare to address yourself as expatriate again, you are going to go to prison. We cannot be called immigrant in your country and you call yourself expatriate in Yoruba land. You are crazy. Every foreigners in Yoruba land, you are immigrant. We have PhD, master's degree, Bachelor of Science degree in England. They call us immigrant. The majority of English nationals who are living in Yoruba land are secondary school dropouts. Yet you address them as expatriate. The majority of the Chinese who are working in Yoruba land are prisoners. They are serving prison sentence. You call them expatriate. That's why we say Yoruba land is an illiterate society. They treat us like slaves in their country. You treat English like kings in Yoruba land. We live in the deprived community of London. The English lives in Victoria Island, Banana Island, Lekki, Ajah. We live in shit places like Peckham in London. The English who lives in our space with no university education, they work in our oil and gas, they work in our capital market, financial market, they are the concessionary managing our port, they control our waterways, they do all manners of things. The best of job, they control it in our space. We do shit job for them, we do cleaning job, we clean their hospitals, we clean their hotels, we wash clothes for them in their hotel, we do shit irresponsible job with our PhD, with our master's degree, with our Bachelor of Science degree. So anyone, foreigners, you call yourself expatriate in Yoruba land, you can use that shit word in Igbo land or you do it in Hausa land. You are going to go to our prison. The same way your police are putting us in prison in their country. That's how you are going to put English national in Yoruba land. We will put you in our prison. But you see, the time is coming. Because Fulani are still there, they will support you with guns. When we took power, we're going to do more than that to you. Because you have undermined our greatness for far too long. So you see, guys, and to our government, it's a disgrace. Your own citizens, Yoruba citizens, they call us immigrants abroad. You allow foreigners who are immigrants and illiterate, who have never been to school, some of them prisoners. They call themselves expatriates. You should be ashamed of yourself. The way you treat your own fellow citizens is horrible. So like I said, the unity system is a weapon of war introduced by the Igbo to conquer the Yoruba land. That's why they have always supported the PDP. Igbo people, they vote for PDP Yoruba. They know that PDP Yoruba is against the political interests of the Yoruba people. So those are the people they go and vote for. They even want to be our political leaders. They will speak Igbo. They will say that, but Yoruba can vote in England. We can vote in England because English came to our homeland in 1851 and enslaved us for almost 100 years. That is the reason why we can vote and be voted for in England. We did not enslave Igbo. So you have no legitimate right whatsoever to vote and be voted for in Yoruba. And this constitution says when I start to interpret it. Anybody that is looking for the interest of the Yoruba nation, the Igbo are always attacking such a person. They are always. Awolowo, they gang up with Fulani to put Awolowo in 10 years imprisonment. They gang up with Fulani to annul the election of Abiola and kill him. They are ganging up with Fulani and the Yoruba Libra to destroy Tinubu. And you will see that this generation will destroy you. That's why we say that Lagos State is your graveyard, Igbo and Fulani. That's where you are going to be buried. There will be a war. Because this generation will not accept the continuation of this subjugation of the Yoruba people. So the Igbo nation, they have been waging war against the Yoruba nation since the suspension of regional government. They have been waging war. Unitary system as a weapon of war is the reason why today in Lagos, Yoruba land, the heartbeat of our homeland, Lagos, Yoruba land, the Igbo people are the majority in Lagos. They are the majority. Because of this unitary system, we cannot regulate the number of people coming into our space. Yoruba land is not as wealthy as the United States of America. Yoruba land is not as wealthy as England. We cannot afford 6.7 million trooping into our space every year. We only request less than 200,000 people at any given year. We are not United States. How many people goes to United States of America? As wealthy as it is. California is richer than the entire African country. We have about 55 countries. One state in America is richer than the entire GDP of Africa. So why should we allow 6.7 million Igbo into Yoruba land? For what? That's why Yoruba cannot come home. Igbo criminals will kill them. People want to come home and invest. So many Yoruba would like to come to Yoruba land, but they cannot come because the Igbo armed robber will kill them. The Igbo kidnappers will kidnap them. We train children through school for years. Igbo will come and kill them. All of this has to stop. They are the majority in Lagos. Imagine English allowing black people to be the majority in London. Or let us put it that imagine English allowing Scottish people to leave Scotland and take over London from them. But the Igbo have taken over Lagos from us because of unitary system. They brought this about, and our generation will end this. So every time the office of Adeyinka Kakanfo does not talk about all of this, he talks about every time Fulani, 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 because it's PDP. Fulani, Fulani, Fulani ISIS are there. It's PDP. The Igbo, why they wage a covert war against the Yoruba nation to conquer Yoruba land. Let me remind the Yoruba nation before we go into the constitution interpretation proper. In case you do not know it, I'll remind you. India has been a nation since God created planet Earth. Go and check it out. China has been a nation since God Almighty created planet Earth. Yoruba, we claim that the first nation on earth to be created by God is Yoruba land. Today, we have been subsumed inside Nigeria, unable to attain our full human potential. if we are unable to take the presidency in 2023, it will take my grandchildren's generation to start all over again what our generation has begun. So I believe there will be war in Nigeria because our generation will no longer take this anymore. What we agree to is parliamentary system of government based on regional government. We, the Yoruba nation, did not approve the current unitary presidential system of 36 states. It is destroying the fabric of our society. If we are not going to be allowed to opt out of Nigeria peacefully, we're going to kill Igbo and Hausa Fulani in Yoruba land towards 2023. We must take the presidency, and our candidate of choice is Tinubu. Because we've been saying this since 1967, when Awolowo spoke as the leader of thought on the 1st of May 1967. He said that the Yoruba nation desire a return to regional government, the decentralization of the military and the police, and that all the loan obtained from IMF and World Bank by Aguyorosi, the Igbo, and Gowan, Yoruba shall not pay a dime back unless for the projects cited in Yoruba. It has been more than 50 years. My generation is making the same request. Our generation will have to end this. Otherwise, it is our grandchildren generation that will be fighting this, because our own children generation, they will just overrun them. They will have lost every sense of history. Already 96% of the total population of Yoruba people were born after 1st of October 1960. None of us experienced slavery and colonialism. We have no justification to say that because of slavery and colonialism, that is why our homeland is a shithole. No, we were never colonized. We only have 4% of the total population of Yoruba that were colonized, that experienced slavery and colonialism. Give them the next 30 years, they will no longer be on the face of this planet Earth. So, guys, we have to think long and hard about what I've just said to you. We've given you a copy of the Constitution of the Western region. That is the Yoruba Constitution. What you have seen is introduction to this. If you are familiar with my book, The Commonwealth of the Yoruba Kingdom, I said one or two things about this Constitution of the Western Nigeria. That is the name of the Constitution. The Constitution of Western Nigeria. And tonight, I have scheduled how I'm going to speak on the interpretation of this Constitution. I will be speaking on chapter 1, which is the governor. You have a copy because we have circulated this over a month. We recirculated the same thing some few years ago. The title of our Constitution is the Constitution of Western Nigeria. When this Constitution was written, Western Nigeria included the Yoruba-speaking states, plus Edo, Delta, and half of Bayelsa states. Because some of these people were not Yoruba, we gave them their own region because we were very honest people. So I will look at chapter 1, the governor. And when I speak about the governors, young Yoruba will agree with me that our abuses on our obas will stop perhaps after this lecture. We will speak on the establishment and the tenure of office of governor, the oath to be taken by governor, the start of governor's function during vacancy, etc. This is what we are going to be discussing on our first day of this. But you will think that the governor that I'm referring to are your current governor of our state. You are wrong, folks. No. The number one political office in Yoruba land is the office of the governor. And who was that governor? But I use was. But the governor is still existing today. And you will be shocked who this man is. I will make some certain new changes for the benefit of the political leadership in Yoruba land. You know, we brought in the concept of devolution. We rejected the concept of restructuring. Everybody has adopted it. Dawn Commission adopted it. Tinubu spoke about devolution. Omo Agege, those guys that are reviewing constitutions as rubbish they're doing, they also adopted the devolution. So we're going to make certain changes. And it's just 4 basic changes. The governor of Yoruba land, we would change it to the head of state. The president of House of Chiefs will change it to the president of House of Oba. The premier will change it to the prime minister. And the Yoruba Assembly, all of these are in our constitution. So it's not as if the Yoruba Assembly, we're going to change it to Yoruba Parliament. And we're using Parliament because people who are elected by their community to represent them are elected into Parliament. We're not Assembly, that people can just be selected randomly to just go and sit around and talk rubbish. No, it's a proper Parliament. These are some of the concepts that we will introduce as we move on. Now, the Constitution of Western Nigeria was first enacted into law in 1952. It was first amended in 1963. It is a law of the Constitution as set out in the 4th schedule to the Nigerian Constitution Order in 1960. Date of commencement of this Constitution, be it enacted by the legislature of Western Nigeria as follows. This law may be cited as the Constitution of Western Nigeria Law, 1963, that was when it was amended, and shall, except as provided by subsection 10 of section 52 and subsection 6 of section 53, come into operation on the 1st day of October 1963, because it was amended. It was first enacted into law. Those who claim that the amalgamation is a problem of Nigeria are wrong. We had a constitution. For us to have constitution means that we are a nation. The Yoruba constitution means that we are a nation because we have a constitution. So amalgamation is not the problem of Nigeria. Like I said, it is the suspension of this constitution. The constitution says the Constitution of Western Nigeria shall be as set out in the schedule to this law. It says, whereas Western Nigeria as a self-governing region, Western Nigeria, that's Yoruba land, we were called Western Nigeria, as a self-governing region of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And whereas it is expedient to make provision subject to the provision of the Constitution of the Federation for a new constitution for Western Nigeria, herein referred to as the region. This preamble that I'm reading to you has to be stated because it is a new amendment. As a new amendment, it has to be enacted into law again. We were referred to as the region. We were not referred to as Oyo State, Lagos State, Ogun State, no, Kwara State, no. We were a bloc. We were a nation. That was what we agreed to before the Igbo suspended. Therefore, the constitution of the region shall be as follows. So, the constitution of the region shall be as follows. The governor. Establishment and tenure of governor of office. And to the young Yoruba that are watching me all over the world, and I've stated this, and I think I educated Iba Gani Adam many years ago, about 2 years ago, that there's no dispute between Oni of Ife and Alaafin of Oyo. The head of state of Yoruba land is Oni of Ife. This is what is in this constitution of Western Nigeria. There is no dispute about this. Oni of Ife has remained the spiritual leader of Yoruba land. He was referred to as the governor of the region, the entire Yoruba land. We have changed the name to head of state of Yoruba land. We must accord that office such respect. It must be addressed as the Oni of Ife, head of state of Yoruba land. The Igbo suspended our constitution. We of this generation will revive that constitution. That is why we want to lobby America and put Tinubu as the president of Nigeria so that we can get back our region. So the governor, the number one person in Yoruba land is the Oni of Ife, recognized in the constitution of Western Nigeria. It says, there shall be a governor of the region who shall subject to the provision of this section, be appointed by the president. Listen carefully, it's not the president of Nigeria that they are referring to. Just listen. Subject to the provision of this section, be appointed by the president, acting in accordance with the advice of the premier, and shall subject as aforesaid, hold office for a term of 5 years. The governor shall be appointed by the president. The constitution is referring to the president of House of Chiefs. Who is the president of House of Chiefs? Alaafin of Oyo. You will be shocked. We had a fantastic system that was destroyed by the Igbo. We're going to revive this because that is the system. Alaafin of Oyo as the president of the House of Chiefs. I told you we're going to change House of Chiefs to House of Oba. It's an insult that the English colonial talk bestowed on us. In their own country, they call their own lords. Alaafin, Oni, Awujale, Akaribu, Oba of Lagos, and others. They are not chiefs. They are Obas. So we're going to change the name to House of Obas. But let me continue so that you will get what we say. The governor of Yoruba region is the Oni of Ife. But the Oni of Ife must be appointed by the president of Yoruba land, who is Alaafin. Alaafin will make that recommendation to the premier of Yoruba land. Currently, we have a premier. That office is not vacant. And the current premier of Yoruba land is Tinubu. It is the ND Tinubu that will appoint Oni of Ife as governor. Why is it that Tinubu is the premier? You think all this? These are the three topmost positions which you are going to see today and tomorrow. The number one political position in Yoruba land is the governor, which we now call head of state. And that office must be occupied by the Oni of Ife. The number two political position in Yoruba land is the president of the House of Chiefs, which we now call House of Oba. And that has always been occupied by Alaafin. The number two political position in Yoruba land is the office of the premier. And that premier will now be addressed as the prime minister. Tinubu is the de facto prime minister of Yoruba land because we have 10 Yoruba speaking states. His party won 8 out of 10. He won Kwara, Kogi, Edo, Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Ondo, and Ekiti state. PDP won Oyo and Delta state. So Tinubu is your de facto prime minister of Yoruba land as we speak. So if we must appoint a governor, according to the constitution of Western Nigeria, the governor will be appointed by the president of the House of Chiefs, which you now call House of Oba. Then the president, who is Alaafin, will take the name. These are just formalities. Will take the name to the premier, which we now address as the prime minister. The premier will then appoint the governor. The office of the governor shall become vacant on the expiration of his term of office, if he dies, if he resigns, or if he is removed from office by the president acting in accordance with the advice of the premier. Now, because this is day one, some of you will think, oh, the president is very powerful. He has to appoint the governor. The prime minister is very powerful. He has to appoint the governor because the president will make recommendation to the premier. The premier will then appoint the governor. So everybody, you might think that, no, the most powerful office in Yoruba land is that of the head of state, which is formally governor. And the occupant of that office is Oni of Ife. You will see how Oni of Ife will be the one to appoint the president himself. These are just formality. You will see that from this constitution how the same Oni of Ife will be the one to appoint the premier. So these are formalities. But what you need to know henceforth, and we must think like civilized people. We must think like real conservative. We must project an image of a determined generation that want to change the course of history. When we say Oni of Ife, we must put his appropriate office. The fact that Igbo destroy this constitution is not sufficient for us to rubbish the Yoruba political leadership. When we say Oni of Ife, we must add head of state of Yoruba. When we say Alaafin of Oyo, we must add president of Yoruba. And when we speak about Tinubu, we must address him as the de facto prime minister of Yoruba. The Liberal don't like it, but that is a statement of fact. He has been the leader of the Yoruba APC, and they have 8 of the 10 states. So what else do you need? So let's continue from that. The premier shall consult the prime minister of the federation before tendering any advice to the president for the purpose of this selection. Oath to be taken by governor, that is Oni of Ife. A person appointed to the office of governor shall, before entering upon the duty of that office, take and subscribe before Chief Justice of the region the oath of allegiance, and such oath for the due execution of the office as may be prescribed by the legislature of the region. Discharge of governor's functions during vacancy. Whenever the office of the governor is vacant, or the holder of the office is absent from Nigeria, or is, in the opinion of the premier, for any reason unable to perform the functions conferred upon him by this constitution, those functions shall be performed by such person as the president, acting in accordance with the advice of the premier, may appoint, or if there is no person in the region so appointed and able to perform those functions, by the president of the House of Chiefs. So if Oni of Ife is not available, the president of the House of Chiefs will appoint another governor. He will make this recommendation to the premier, and the premier will appoint that governor. But where, for instance, Oni of Ife is on tour to Brazil, Alaafin of Oyo will assume the position of the governor of Yoruba land, provided that nothing in this section shall preclude the governor from performing any of those functions at any time when he is absent from Nigeria. So folks, this is the first chapter of our constitution that was suspended, and this will bring the end to our first day. But the takeaway from this is that there is no vacuum in the political hierarchy of the Yoruba nation. We of this generation will not accept the suspension of the regional government. Tomorrow you will see how beautiful this constitution is. You will see what our grandparents did to make Yoruba land great. Today we will blame Oni of Ife. We will blame Alaafin of Oyo that they are not doing anything while their subjects suffer all manners of material lacks. But these people were actually the top political leaders under regional government. But with the unity system introduced by the Igbo, an ordinary local government chairman is more powerful than Oni of Ife. Why is it that another reason rather why the Igbo suspended regional government is that they don't have kings. All this red cap wearing Igwe and Obi, it was the English who created them. They bought the cap from Morocco for them. They never had kingship. That's why they have no respect for our constitution. They just came with guns and suspended everything. So tomorrow we're going to talk about more of this role. So the take home tonight is there is no vacuum in the political leadership of Yoruba land. Our constitution might have been suspended, but the leadership of Yoruba land remains. Oni of Ife must be addressed as Oni of Ife, the head of state of Yoruba land. Alaafin of Oyo must be addressed as Alaafin of Oyo, president of Yoruba land. We have a prime minister, and that man is Tinubu. The liberal, you might accept it or not. It is none of our problem. It is your problem. You lost the election that was done last year. So folks, you will see more tomorrow. And I thank you for joining me tonight. Our time is fast spent, and we're going to continue tomorrow, possibly at the same time. And thank you for those of you who are on Facebook. And thank you, everyone. But let me give you this that I wanted to stay in the beginning. But because I brought my mother in, I decided not to say it. But I know she's watching us at home. You know, a year ago, I was arrested by the Scotland Yard for terrorism. When I found out that the complainant was a member of my family who gave me 2 children, I went into depression. And a lot of people don't know this. The pain was so severe that somebody I lived with for 13 years could be this evil. So I self-admitted myself in the hospital 3 times because I expected maybe perhaps Igbo or the federal government of Nigeria would have made that allegation. But the source was unbelievable. But one day, after 3 months of that allegation, I woke up in the morning, but I couldn't move my leg. My toe was swollen. The stress has triggered an underlying medical problem. So I was rushed to the hospital, and I was diagnosed with gout. It has been caused by excessive stress. I was stressed, I have to be honest with you. I think about it every day, that I couldn't believe that is coming. Well, the source was shocking. But why am I saying this? I'm saying this as a politician for full disclosure. We managed it with my GP. I was prescribed some medication, and this thing was gone. But it triggered again July this year. So serious. It was in my toes and at the back of very close to my ankle. I couldn't walk. So we treated it. But I'm fine now. But I just want to use this opportunity to say to people, particularly the Yoruba people, we go through a lot of stress as a result of the suspension of regional government. There's no security of lives and properties. There's not affordable housing. We don't have free and qualitative healthcare. We don't have job security. Our children cannot go to good school. We have family problem, marital problem, relationship problem, work-related problem. We're going through stress. I want to encourage you that you have to take stress very seriously. It could kill. And because of the unity system that we find ourselves in, we cannot even afford to travel on holiday. We live in miserable life, Yoruba people, whether we are in North America, whether we are in any European country or in Yoruba land, we just live in miserable life. So I want you to take advantage of speaking out to professionals, like doctors, like psychologists, like mediators. Speak out to them. I will not encourage you to speak out to pastors in Yoruba land. The majority of the Pentecostal pastors in Yoruba land became pastors because of the unity system and lack of employment. Jesus Christ did not call them, as they have always alleged. They are doing this for business. So even if you disclose your pains, your anxiety to them, they will take advantage of you. But you could pay a stipend to professionals. You could speak to your doctors who could refer you to other professionals that will listen to your anxiety. They will listen to your pain and be able to manage your problem rather than for you to die of high blood pressure, and other stress. When you have stress, we all have underlying problems. Stress would trigger medical issues, like it has done in my own case. I've managed it. Even though the irresponsible police in England who arrested me 8 times from the allegation of one person, they continue to arrest me every now and then. I have told them there's nothing I can do to their stupidity. The only thing I can do is to advocate for the same treatment for English national in Yoruba land. For us to arrest them unjustly, indiscriminately, as a matter of fact, assault them because they assaulted me, broke my eye socket, and fractured my lower limbs. But rather than that, there's something else that happened to me which has to do with health. If you continue to carry so much stress in you, you might have high blood pressure and you might even drop dead. It is not a spiritual problem. It is the problem that we all have as a result of the situation we found Yoruba in. If we have been continuing with regional government, I would not live in England because I have the best of job in Yoruba land. I'm not an economic migrant. So I want to appeal to you guys. Stress can kill. Speak to professionals, your doctors, psychologists, mediators. These are professionals. And they are people you perhaps don't know. They'll keep your secret. You'll be able to talk to them. Pay some service charge. But you speaking to your pastor, speaking to your friends and family might not help. So I want to encourage you to speak out. I'm okay, I'm fine. But believe you me, the source of my arrest is a shock. It is still a shock to me at this moment. And it has cost me so much. So until I see you tomorrow, I want you to remember one thing. Tonight, there is no political vacuum rather, in Yoruba land. Our head of state remains the Oni of Ife. Our president remains the Alaafin of Oyo, and the de facto prime minister is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Ignore the Libra. They are horrible. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Cheers. Thank you.